Hello everybody, this is Inaris of Inaris StarCraft, and I'm bringing you the third in a best-of-5 matchup featuring BorgBear, StarCraftArena.net forum regular, and his friend Tempest, both playing as Protoss. Now, Borg is going to go ahead and spawn at the 6 o'clock position. Looks like we also have a couple observers. One of them is apparently going to spawn in the bathroom for this game. And then we have Tempest spawning at the 2 o'clock position. Like I said, both of them are playing as Protoss, as they have in the previous two matches. And so far, Borg is 2-0 in this series. So we'll have to see if he's able to scrape out a third win this game, or if Tempest is going to make a comeback. Borg is going to go ahead and put his pylon at the kind of traditional top of the ramp, whereas Tempest is going to go ahead and put his down at the base of his ramp. This kind of opens up a couple opportunities for him, but also leaves him vulnerable to a base rush. If Tempest is able to successfully build up at the base of this ramp, he will be able to not only block access to his base, but also his buildings will double as defense and forward production facilities that will protect his natural expansion. So it is a little bit of a risky move, but like I said, Tempest is down 2 games in this series, so he's probably looking at pulling some different tricks out of his hat to secure a win in this best-of-5 matchup. Borg is going to go ahead and chrono boost up some probes. He's going to chrono boost some probes and get his economy going as quickly as possible. And Tempest is going to go ahead and drop a pylon down at BorgBear's natural expansion. This actually kind of serves a few different purposes. This will provide a proxy position should Tempest decide to utilize it in such a manner. It blocks off the natural expansion from being built, and it also provides some forward vision. Even if Tempest decides not to do any sort of proxy position, he will still be able to keep an eye on what BorgBear is doing immediately outside of his base. Meanwhile, Tempest is kind of doing a little bit of probe harassing here. I'm not sure why Borg canceled that building. I thought maybe Tempest dropped that to deny Borg building placement, but that was definitely Borg's building and it got canceled. So we'll just have to see what his plan is with that. He may try to wall in and go for a fast air or something of that sort. That's what he has walled in the previous 2 games. However, he's kind of faked out Tempest by going sort of a land-based attack with Immortals, Colossi, Stalkers, etc. So we'll have to see what happens there. Tempest is still actually scouting around in Borg's base, harassing him a little bit. However, I don't think he's really controlling this probe too much at the moment. He probably just figured, hey, whatever, this probe has done its job and I'm just going to let it keep scouting until it dies. So, meanwhile, back in Tempest's base, he does have it built up just a little bit more. He's getting a cannon down to guard his ramp and the natural expansion. And he does have 1 gas up, whereas Borg is going to go ahead and he doesn't have either one up yet quite, but he is building both of them at the same time. So we may see some sort of teching here. He isn't quite blocking off his ramp, so we'll have to see what BorgBear is exactly going to go for. However, if Borg wants to try to stay in this game and keep up with Tempest as far as the late game goes, he will have to secure an expansion and stop Tempest from putting this pylon harassment down. And so we'll have to see what Tempest's plan is. Like I said, this is kind of a deviation from the first 2 games, how Tempest played. So definitely looking forward to how this game is going to go. Tempest did let this pylon finish. That's not really something you want to always do. If you're going to try to harass a little bit with a pylon down here, you want to cancel it before it finishes building, so that way you don't lose that money. You won't get all of it back, but you'll get enough back to where, you know, it's worth the escape button. Tempest is going to go ahead and put down this expansion, which is kind of setting the clock ticking for BorgBear. He is going to have to do something about this soon, or else Tempest is just going to have way too much of an economic advantage for BorgBear to be able to keep up. Even though BorgBear does have a pylon back here in the shrouded area of his base, so he may be using that to either scout for a hidden drop, or he may even try to do some hidden tech, such as a Stargate or Dark Templar. It's really hard to say. We'll have to see what happens here. Borg does kind of realize a little bit that, you know, I really need to do something about this expansion because I am not going to be able to keep up with just 1 base versus 2. He is going to go ahead and engage the Zealot. This poor Zealot is not going to really be able to hold off on his own, but he does note that there is a cannon over here to the left, and BorgBear is going to have to avoid that if he wants to have any sort of effect on this expansion. However, Tempest once again kind of setting the clock starting for BorgBear to get something done, as this cannon, once it's done building, it will be able to hit pretty much anything right here, kind of putting a stop to any long-term damage plans that BorgBear might have. Tempest does do a bit of a mismicro there where he sends the probe in to attack the Zealot, with the Zealot running around behind, but that's okay because he does correct that rather quickly. Tempest is going to go ahead and send down a whole bunch of probes to kind of distract the Zealots a little bit, make sure they don't go attack this one cannon, because if he does do a whole bunch of damage to this cannon, you know, he probably won't be able to kill it off completely, but if BorgBear decided to keep pressure on, this is probably the last opportunity that he'll have to do so before Tempest really takes off on his economy. Borg is going to go ahead and get his expansion down. It is kind of late. We'll have to see if Borg is able to pull this out of his hat, though. Like I said, he was able to take the first 2 games with only a couple engagements, so we'll have to see. It looks like Borg is kind of sticking to a similar strategy, not deviating too much. We'll have to see what his long-term plan is, though. It looks like he did just finish his observer, and he's going to go up, and I don't think he's actually had vision of what is in Tempest's base yet. So let's see. That is not BorgBear. That is BorgBear. Okay. No, he really hasn't seen. Well, he's seen the Nexus, but other than that, he's probably curious as to what Tempest is doing, because, like I said, this is a pretty big deviation from Tempest's standard build. And he is getting up here to see that the cybernetics core is just now finishing up, and he is going to go ahead and keep on current boosting a couple Zealots out, most likely. He does have these cannons down, which will serve as a good static defense, good deterrent against any sort of push that Borg would be able to do in the next couple minutes. So, like I said, if Tempest is going to be able to get this expansion up, hold off BorgBear, and kind of get his economy going, this may not work very well for BorgBear. It looks like he is going to go ahead and get a robotics bay down, so again, looking like it's going to be the sort of same strategy as last game. Why broke if it ain't fixed? Wow, that was... I don't think I've ever actually messed up a saying that much before. Why fix it if it's not broke? There, English is hard. Okay.